What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Brit the Roast, Burley. Oh man, that was the worst mistake of my life. But I do love his videos though. Anyway, what's up, you guys? It's me again, and welcome back to my channel. Back at it again with another creepy video of Snarled. And this time, let me fix this. I guess it's gonna be cool like this. But anyway, this one is called Switched Bags. And I don't know what's gonna happen. But as long as y'all want to see me suffer, and the headache-ness, the deliberateness, the stupidness, you know, the confusion of everything, you know. So I'm gonna be fine. So as of now, without further ado, let's get right into it.
I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? Switched bags. The following is based on a submission from Venus. I was in college and on my way home from a short solo weekend trip. I lived in a dorm on campus, but with the number of times my mom would call or text me, it felt like I never moved out at all. The entire trip, she constantly texted me for updates to make sure I was okay. She'd also send me news articles about the bad things that have happened to women while traveling alone. Sometimes I just flat out ignored her. I didn't like feeling suffocated. While I was packing, I realized I didn't have enough room in my suitcase to fit all the souvenirs and presents I bought. So before heading to the bus station, I purchased a new burgundy suitcase to fill with the excess items. After I arrived at my destination and gathered my bags, I went outside to call a taxi, ignoring a call from my mom as I did so. It was a weekend evening and super crowded. I kept bumping into other people also waiting for their car. There were a couple times when I was almost completely shoved to the ground. It was super annoying. I finally got a car and headed home. As I dragged my bags up the stairs, I felt weak. I didn't remember the bags being that heavy, but I figured I was probably just exhausted from traveling. I went to open my new suitcase so I could sort out the gifts, but there was a lock I didn't recognize. I sighed in frustration. Of course I grabbed the wrong bag, probably when I was in that crowd. I remember feeling extra annoyed knowing that I hadn't put a lock on my bag. I was never seeing those gifts again. I kept looking all over for any sign of identification when I felt the bag move. I stepped back. Pretty sure I just imagined that.
Don't touch it.
I nudged the bag with my foot, and the suitcase moved again. Then I heard what sounded like a muffled voice crying in pain. It sounded human. I grabbed my hammer and started hacking at the lock, desperately trying to break it open. After a couple of tries, I was successful. I unzipped the bag. Inside
Was
a young girl, her limbs bound and her mouth covered. She was scrawny and pale. I untied her and gave her water and asked her how she got in there, but she was much too weak to speak. I pulled out my phone to call the police, but before I could, I was receiving a call. I almost swiped to ignore it, thinking it was my mom, but it was an unknown number. I had put my information on the luggage tag of my suitcase, so I figured that whoever was calling might have been whoever put this girl in the bag. Hello? I believe you have my bag, Venus. Shit, he knows my name. Yeah, I must have grabbed the wrong one. Let's meet at the playground on Mason Street and switch. I started panicking. What the hell was I supposed to do? I decided to call my uncle, who was a police officer. After I explained the situation to him, he came up with a plan. We were first going to take the girl to the nearest hospital, and then he was going to escort me to the meeting spot. Before we left, I stuffed the suitcase with stones to make it look heavy. Then, I slipped a stone in my pocket, just in case. We got to the playground a little earlier than the agreed upon meeting time. My uncle hid in some bushes, never taking his sight off of me. A black car pulled up. Out stepped a very tall, ugly man, wearing a lot of layers. He stopped a few feet in front of me and rolled my bag towards me. Then he gestured for me to do the same.
Oh, with the line.
Of course, it didn't roll that far because of the weight. So the man took a couple steps towards me. I went to collect my bag, and when I was near him, he grabbed my wrist. The lock, it's missing.
I know it.
My heart was racing. He knew. He knew that I knew what was in his suitcase. What was he going to do with me? My adrenaline was coursing through me. He gripped my wrist tighter and pulled me closer. You look young. How old did you say you were? I quickly pulled out the stone from my pocket and threw it at the man's head. He let go of me and screamed in pain. I grabbed my bag and ran towards the other end of the playground. Behind me, I could hear my uncle emerge from the bush and order the man to put his hands up. And then I blacked out. I woke up in the hospital. My uncle was there and told me that the man had been arrested.
Okay.
He had been part of a huge trafficking ring that smuggled children through low-security bus stations. I asked if the girl was going to be okay. Although she was making a swift physical recovery, it would take a much longer time for her to heal from the trauma. That girl was so young. I thought about the obsessive texts and calls from my mom and no longer thought she was crazy. I'm lucky. That girl could have been me.
Yeah, exactly.
Human trafficking is a real and horrifying global problem. You can visit polarisproject.org to learn how to spot a victim and other ways you can take action. So, living in Los Angeles, it's really useful to...
That's the worst though, trafficking, because most, especially if you're like, please don't go on deep web or dark web, whatever. Because, like, that's where most of the trafficking thing they do at that site, at that website. And that's just, I can't imagine people doing that. Trafficking, I mean, you kidnap people and just, especially young kids. And, I mean, okay, it could be anybody. But, like, the fact mostly they go after young children. And that's, I cannot, I just don't understand the world, you know. There's good people in the world, there's bad people in the world. It's just crazy. At least this video got a good ending, because I did not feel like being I can't even talk. Y'all guys know what I'm saying. But yeah. So that's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'll follow you back. I'll put a description down below if you want to. Let me know what you think about this video, and as of now, see you later, my little nightmares. Peace.